Hello and welcome everyone back to the Schooner Pod. I'm Bobby Howard. With me today, as always, we've got Jameson Maxwell and Ty Lee, and we are just we're moving right on through spring, folks. Spring game coming soon. It's April, and look, I was just talking before the show. It feels like it hasn't been a super eventful spring. You're getting the standard, like, oh, this guy looks good in shorts. You know, look how big this dude is, like all of those sort of things. But we're not getting a lot of flashy big news until Joe Harroz, OU's president, decided to make a bit of a splash. And I know we said we weren't talking about basketball for a long time. Well, he just decided to screw that one up. Sat down with the good folks at the OU Daily, who got a hell of a scoop. Essentially, Joe Harroz threatening to move the team out, or the University North Park Arena project that has been going on for a decade plus now at this point, shot down by the city of Norman, came back to life, up for a vote again. He said if it failed, that they would look into other options in other places, other cities. And this has caused quite a ripple effect, not only across Oklahoma, but the college sports world in general, because we've seen teams threaten to leave. We haven't seen universities threaten to leave. So it's a bit strange, bit odd, but we'll get onto that. We'll get on to some spring football later, some recruiting, all of that. But Jameson, let's just kick this thing off. How credible of a threat do you think this is from Joe Harroz?
Ty will like this. You know, I feel like whenever OU basketball is trying to find a different city, it's like the who want me? And it's like, no, 100% on Instagram. That's what it feels like, honestly. Like, they're like, oh, we can move to Moore. Moore's like, whoa, hold up. Why are you throwing my name in this? What am I going to do with this? I don't know what I'm going to do with this. You got to throw them what? Bethany, Blanchard? I don't know. Where are you going to throw them? I mean, I'm just thinking of just other random suburbs of Oklahoma City. What's going on here? Who want me?
So here's the thing. I don't think it would be a Bethany Blanchard like that far. I think if it was even more would be like a Southmore, like you're just barely popping across where you're currently at. Someone brought up a really good idea. I can't remember who it was on Twitter. The idea of partnering with the Choctaws and putting like the entertainment district right next to Riverwind.
This ain't Yellowstone. You know? Like, what's going on here?
I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like, those are the kind of ideas floating about. And I'll say this. There's no way in hell they're moving to Oklahoma City or anywhere else. It would be areas that are slightly not Norman, if it was anything. I don't know, Ty, what do you think of all this?
I don't know. I have not been following it as closely as y'all have, but I could see more pretty easily. I don't, from my perspective, right? I've lost my perspective as our one remaining active student, but from my perspective, like if you're a student coming from campus, the difference between going up to more like where the the Toby Keith to the movie theater is pretty negligible to going up to like where Target is in North Norman. Like you're on the highway for like 3 more minutes. Like the traffic situation gets remarkably worse the farther you go, but seems pretty unremarkable to me. I think, I don't know. I feel like the tribal thing is certainly interesting to me. Obviously right by Riverwind, that'd be really cool. That's, I would argue, a better location than even up by, North Norman. My perspective, this is an extreme perspective, but the second it goes off campus, it doesn't really matter. You become like a unremarkable commuter school at that point. So we're already relegating ourselves to second tier status when it comes to basketball by not being able to afford something on campus. So, maybe we could do the USC football route and just use a community park and just call that our home stadium.
Just play at Reeves Park. Somehow play outside.
Yeah.
Just put like a big.
Not the Huff. Why don't they just put more bleachers in the Huff? I guess they don't call it that anymore, but
yeah, they're just right. I hate that. That's not Sarkis. We know what Sarkis is.
Don't talk about going to Reeves Park. The only competition that actually might be better than the entertainment that Oklahoma basketball has been putting out recently is, whenever they have the medieval fair And these guys who do these jousting there get really, really into it. These guys walk around like, Madame, may I fight for your honor? And it's just the best entertainment. I don't think you can take that away. Do not take away my medieval feeling.
Jameson,
No,
you said
we're not
madame.
saying
You
put
said
it there.
Madame. It's not Madame. It's Milady, my friend.
Milady,
You should
yes.
know this.
I'm not saying like build there. I'm saying you just play there. That's what USC does with the Coliseum. They didn't build anything. They were just like, hey, can we use this community?
Play on some concrete slab courts.
All at ours.
This commuter, like public, Olympic stadium. I see what you're getting at, but still.
In reality, with all of this, it's really everyone deep down knows that he's just blowing smoke and he's just trying to do whatever he can. Like, come on, he told it to OU Daily. Like, we know this. This is essentially like King Curtis from Wife Swaps. I've packed my bags and I'm ready to go. And he immediately comes back home.
A wife swap reference.
Well, everyone knows King Curtis, the kid who gets mad because they take away his junk food. You'll know the meme. And I know there's some people.
I think I do. I
know this. Like, bacon's good for me. The little country kid. Okay.
I remember this.
I'm making a bunch of references today that I guess aren't hitting. But it's everyone knows that it's just like a total just blowing smoke moment. And come on, who's actually buying this?
I will say, I like the idea that he threw that out there without a concrete deal to try to tease some stuff out. If it were up to me, they don't want it to be up to me because my ideas are too good. It would be embarrassing to them. But, right, we would just play where the Thunder plays. That'd be cool. Work out some partnership there. But outside of that, y'all know, I haven't been there in like a year, but that I think it's called the Okana water park thing that they're building down in South OKC. I like the idea that Joe is throwing that out there, just hoping that the tribe comes to him and says, hey, want to go 50-50 on a little entertainment venue down there? We can get a nice, small little stadium that's appropriately sized that we can pack all the time. And then obviously you need to have some sort of free bus shuttle thing for the students. But I'd argue that you also need that for going up by Target. So,
yeah, well, and the Akana development is, you say South OKC, but it's like just barely south of the river. Like, it's right downtown pretty much. But I think a partnership, maybe if you didn't have the new arena right there, I could see that being a very, very solid spot right there. But too many arenas too close right there. But also it's kind of crazy when you think about it that, this district, this whole situation is going to be as big as it is when you have, the arena right there, the new Paycom Center, just a couple miles north. So maybe Harroz needs to scale back a little bit because frankly, I don't think you need a massive entertainment district at all. I think you just need a nicer arena, a little bit more accessible. Lloyd Noble is horrible to get to. We all know that. And then the experience is bad.
It is not, though. It's a university sports team, and it's on campus. It's not horrible to get to. It's horrible for the non-students to get to. It's not their sports team.
It's like a 10-minute drive just for the students even. It's not...
that. Okay, that is patently absurd.
Unless you're on the dorms, but you only live on the dorms if you're a freshman.
10 minutes, really?
That's an exaggeration, I'm sure.
Obviously Norman's kind of like a bigger city than people give it credit for, so students live all over.
I was thinking like Highway 9. Like if you're over at
the real problem is Highway 9. It's just gross.
This is
true.
Yeah. I will say, I feel like the basketball conversation is sort of tapering off, not to push us ahead. But again, I do not understand. I need this. I'm not trying to do a bit. I think maybe some of the listeners might be in the same boat as me. I do not understand what is so wrong with Lloyd Noble Center. And let me preface this with a short bit of saying that Lloyd Noble Center is good enough for NBA teams. It was good enough for Elvis. It was good enough for Journey. It was good enough for Jack White, Grateful Dead. There's a whole bunch of other.
Jack White didn't even play there. He played at the Field House.
Okay. Well, anyways, I forgot about that one. A blurry memory of that concert. But
50th year anniversary of Lloyd Noble is next year.
so let me just remind
Let's sink
everyone
in.
again: Lloyd Noble, good enough for literal Elvis and Journey and NBA teams and everything else, but apparently not good enough for OU's basketball team that can't even make March Madness. Like I don't understand how they are better than Elvis in that. Like they need something more than Lloyd Noble, which is seemingly fine.
Such an old timers take. It's like, oh, Bob Pettit would cross up some of the boys in the NBA.
I don't okay, but like I went a little long on my bit there to jab at the team, but I do not understand what is wrong with Lloyd Noble. You'll say, oh, it's sort of dark in there. LED lights are a thing. We can just invest in those cheaper than building something new. Oh, the locker rooms aren't nice. We can't redo the locker rooms for cheaper than building our new entertainment center that no one wants to have.
They did already redo the
Yeah, they did.
actually.
And
so then what's wrong? Then what's wrong with it?
They keep
it's
putting
an odd
up on this page. It's just not
no, Lloyd Noble's an odd shape. Yeah, because it's built for the gymnastics team because they win national championships. The basketball
It wasn't
team,
even built for that. It's built to be multi-purpose.
Exactly.
But it's like
why are we building around a team that can't even make their postseason tournament that literally like 50% of the teams get into when it's good enough for national champions and Elvis?
I think your math might be off on that a little bit, but I mean, Elvis in 50 years ago, it's just an outdated arena. It's just kind of grimy. It doesn't have it's set up wrong. It is like strategically set up poorly to be a good environment for a basketball game. You go to Gallagher-Iba, you go to Fog Allen, you go to any solid college basketball arena in the country, and you see immediately what's wrong with the Lloyd Noble Center. Students are everyone is too far away because it's shaped like a big old oval. It goes out instead of up. It infinitely and it's in the middle of a giant parking lot. It's not a good arena at all. It needs
That's
to be
how
replaced.
stadiums work.
Right, but not really. Like I just named several arenas that are completely different from that. Like find one that has the weird oval shape looking like an egg, big old planter's wart looking, arena. It's awful. Disgusting. It needs to be gone. I don't care about whoever played there. It's just
will be.
It's just time.
That's it. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be gone, and there's going to be an entertainment district, and it's going to.
It's a play for leverage because you don't have any because you are as a university stuck in one place, and Norman, they're doing their thing. So we'll see how it goes. There's still a vote, which is kind of hilarious because this might have actually hurt the vote, like might have pissed people off. We'll see, but I don't know. I think that's enough on the arena. What do you think, Jameson?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to the vote, people vote yes. It's just kind of what Oklahoma culture is at this point. So I won't be surprised to see the vote pass. Let's move on. I say let's do it.
Yep. Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit of spring practice stuff. Guys just got back from spring break and everything. I will say, they've given the media a lot of really good access. We've seen a lot of tape that we, under the Lincoln era would not have seen. So that's been pretty exciting to see. Who's impressed you, Jameson?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm not there. I'm not saying things, but I will once again remind you that it is super fun to listen to all these insiders that are there and seeing and hearing from the coaches about who they're the most excited for. Remember, guys, really the big news is who they're not talking about. So pay attention closely about that. Like Schooner Scoop just had a whole topic about talking about how they haven't been talking about PJ Adebawari. Listen to these things. But the guys that I really want to talk about, and I feel like OU should be getting more excited about, let's start first with the tight ends, Ty, because the tight end era in Oklahoma is just getting bigger and bigger. And I'm not going to talk about your boy, Devon Mitchell, Bobby. I'm talking about Bauer Sharp. Like, he's getting articles written over him. He looks the part. Allegedly, he's just like an animal in the weight room. Like, that is everything you want. And he is an athlete. That dude is going to be such a big time performer for us next year that I'm not ready to buy super hype into anyone in the spring. But whenever there's new guys who come in and then you hear rave report every single day about one new guy over and over and over, then that's whenever I start to think, okay, I think there's some legitimacy here. And Bauer Sharp is going to be a fun player to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing the same things about Sharp. You can see clips. Everyone looks good against air, but I mean, he sounds like he's a real deal. Classic JUCO guy, getting him from Southeast Louisiana. One
I think
direct,
that's what
some
Ty
direction.
told me.
It's
It
a
is Southeast.
directional, yeah,
It is.
directional Louisiana. So I think that would be a pretty cool story. But he's looking legit. He's looking legit for sure. From what I'm hearing, none of us are media. We're just dudes who like OU.
What we have read of other people's thoughts and
Yeah.
hearings.
Yeah, what I've heard, I am excited about. So
The tight ends are becoming great again in this arid time of tight ends that we've had.
Wait, did the club man leave? Did he portal out
he's
Blake
gone.
Smith?
Yes, Blake Smith. Do you know where he is?
No. Where's he at?
Is there something in did he not go to Texas State?
I thought he.
I'll look him up.
I'm pretty sure he went to Texas State, to Boco.
Tarleton.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a different guy.
No,
that's a completely different guy.
I'm pretty damn sure.
Yeah, he went to
went
Boca.
to Texas State.
That's right. Oh yeah, there he is. Blake Smith. He's at Texas State. He's living the dream.
Hell yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Let's get. We need to get Ty a Blake Smith Texas State NIL jersey or something for the clubmen. But anyways,
I'll tell you whose jersey I would like to have. The person who there have not been any spring practice reports on them because they are not yet ready to play. But ladies and gentlemen, fans of the Schooner Pod, could not be a more perfect storyline. It's so tremendous. Let me just describe this to you. This is my hot preseason take of the season that will come true. The prodigal son of a prodigal son. That's right. Casey Thompson. Does anyone remember? The Texas quarterback, the Nebraska quarterback, the son of a famous OU player. He's played for all the evil schools, Texas and Nebraska. And now, by way of Florida Atlantic, he has found his way home to Oklahoma, where he is injured and is not able to play. But finally, we have someone who does have a wealth of experience. And if Jackson Arnold is hurt or cannot play or something else, the storyline of Casey Thompson coming in back in Red River on the other side of the field. Has there ever been a player who's actually played on both sides of Red River?
Brennan Thompson for OU
Thompson
last year was one of them.
Okay, well,
it's still rare.
Either way, it would be very,
weird.
very cool. It's so perfect. It's finally going to click for him. That is the preseason take.
This is finally when Casey Thompson, goes off. But I do
because he needed to come back to OU.
We're hearing Casey's name all the time because he's a really good interview and it's a wonderful story for journalists to go out and make. But what the reports are saying right now, from what people are seeing from the spring, people are saying that Hawkins is allegedly just tearing it up right now.
I'm hearing that too.
It might take Thompson's number 2 job if Thompson comes in and he's already got that big of a hill to go up. If Hawkins continues to play this well, like we're saying, this is a freshman in the spring. Whenever it gets down to game time, things can completely change. Guys turn it up to another level whenever fall gets closer. So could he just be, on a little bit of a hot streak? Absolutely. But there's a chance that he could just be a glorified coach, for essentially what he's acting like right now.
Well, he does have a broken leg.
I don't think he actively has the broken leg. I think he might have recovered from it.
No, I'm pretty sure he has a torn ACL.
Very much still recovering from some sort of injury. His leg.
Yeah, broke. He's out spring. I think it's ACL. It's either ACL or Achilles.
Yikes.
But yeah, I think it's ACL. Which happened in September of 2023. You can return from that in 6 months, but a guy with his injury history is not going to return in 6 months from that. So right now, would be the earliest he could start coming back. That's not going to happen. He's going to take his time. He's going to take the close to a year. So right to the border of the season.
About halfway through a game in October. then he will emerge.
I mean, he is a quarterback, so like, you don't have to have as much mobility as you would need if you were like a wide receiver returning. Like Andrew Anthony, allegedly, another thing that I heard, I forget what source was talking about that. Allegedly, he had to have like a cleanup procedure done on his knee, and he's kind of delayed in his recovery timeline. That's something I don't want to hear. And
Right.
everyone's gonna hype up this wide receiver room. To be completely honest with you, I'm just going to not talk about him as much or even at all as a part of this wide receiver room until he comes back and shows something for me. Because a guy with setbacks during a surgery process, because I think it was Kerry Murdoch that was saying it, like saying that his like leg was a little bit tight and he had to go back in and get things a little bit loose. That is not bode well in terms of where he is going to be in his recovery timeline for going into the season.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
But I do need to call out Kerry Murdoch because I guess I'm just talking a bunch about Sooner Scoop on this podcast. I promise I'll listen and look at other OU content, but it's just, I guess, what I'm talking about now. He was talking about another thing that's happening right now in terms of, which is a huge, huge thing in spring ball. Troy Everett going down with a knee injury, and he's going to be out for the spring, can come back close to in fall ball. So that'll put him out for like 3 or so months. And he was trying to play doctor, he said, and he looked up and he said it was like the patellofemoral ligament is what he said on his podcast. If it's that for me, I'm going to be completely surprised. This kid probably tore his meniscus. It's just going to suck.
Well, that would be really bad if that's the case.
Yeah, you can return quickly from meniscus. Like, look what Joel Embiid just did. Joel Embiid just had a quick return, and I understand this is a different sport, but I'm just throwing out big names where people will know. And like, if you have like a pulse on sports, like like these players in their timelines, like Joel Embiid, you can return quickly from meniscus, or you can be a long time from it. The moral of the story is Troy Everett. Like, we're already thin at center, and Josh Bates is behind him, and allegedly this is a guy that's been having trouble snapping the ball consistently. Yes, Josh Bates is the guy right there. He's having trouble snapping the ball, and behind him, who do we got? Josh Iasosa, true freshman. Like someone's gonna have to slot over and take over in the center, because I'm not gonna feel good about a guy I'm hearing reports about that. We hope that he was going to be better, and he's having trouble snapping the ball. We've already had plenty of problems with that last year.
I mean, you're dead on right there. And we know how it can affect a team. And, obviously it's one thing when you're doing that to, I mean, you can lose a game against Kansas and Oklahoma State, doing that. But playing against the SEC, that type of schedule, the margin of error just shrinks significantly. So yeah, that's a panic button situation. I don't think that's an easy fix when it comes to portaling, not with the center. That's just not something that happens. So it's one you have to really hope that health or someone slots in and, just randomly figures it out. But yeah, that's a bad sign right there.
Yeah, I don't have to deal with that. And our offensive line, when it comes down to it, it's our weakest unit, and it's our big guys. Defensive line is too. But it's already just hurts at this point in April that we're already talking about, before this even the offseason even started, how much we were worrying about this offensive line unit. You just take a stab at a guy. If you lose Troy Everett and now we're freaking out even more, that shows you how nervous that we're going to be for this. Thank God there's some guys stepping up right now. Allegedly, like Fabechi Uwiwu is doing really well. The North Texas transfer, he's pretty much slotted in like as a guard, starting guard. And Heath Ozeda is also doing really well. But there's not much confidence in my depth. Whenever you look at this depth chart right now, I don't see much.
Yeah, it's by far our thinnest position. It's a yeah. And I feel like there's always some turnover, but let's just be upfront. Losing Caden Green, one of your bigger, that obviously doesn't help you on the center end of things, but it sucks. It sucks to have, I feel like Beatonbow's O-line's like slowly build up through the years, and to have one of those massive building blocks that early head out on you, that's just a pretty bad blow. I'm not trying to bring it up again or talk about it, but it just flat out is. It flat out is.
It's an escape, huge deal for us.
And the recruiting, I feel like, and we can get in the recruiting corner in a bit, but I feel like it's been pretty good for 25 looking forward, but that doesn't help you in 24. And that's just kind of the facts of it all, is freshmen, you don't want to be playing a lot of freshmen in general. So like second year guys are usually the guys who are the biggest contributors. So losing a very talented freshman that you're not going to get back for a sophomore year is just, it sucks. It's bad. Mm-hmm. And the effects are really showing. So.
Yeah. Then there's one other guy I kind of wanted to talk about in this quick segment before we kind of move on to other topics. A guy that I'm starting to hear a lot about, and just selfishly, I'm going to buy into it because I'm going to get really excited. Devon Sears, our boy from Texas State transfer. Man, do we need a defensive tackle to step up with Jacob Lacey medically retiring? Whew. Man, they're saying good things about him. I don't know if it's just kind of like an availability bias thing here. Just because he's there, they're going to say good things. But like, I'm all for it. If you can tell me Devon Sears coming in from Texas State's going to have a big season this year, I'm excited.
I do love there's got to be some sort of term for getting this like very obvious, maybe cause and effect, but I do genuinely enjoy the transition between, I think the O-line is maybe the worst. They're like, no one's got anything good to say about the O-line. They're maybe the worst like position group, and just they're really struggling in every regard. But great news, the D-line is looking awesome in practice against this O-line.
Didn't even think of it like that.
Not only that, but then mentioning the transfer from Texas State is a standout, just to compound it.
In other news, every single snap the D-line has been in the backfield. It's been amazing.
If our defensive line isn't actually destroying every single practice, then I'm going to start worrying even more about the defensive line.
And that's a fallacy of spring right there. You can never tell what's good, what's bad. Or if you're, if a side is getting dominated because one side's good, or if a side's getting dominated because they're horrid,
Yeah. And we did talk about this in a previous podcast a little bit with off-season news and spring news, especially. It's one of those things where there's always so much hype. There's always so much fluff. And I think one of the things we talked about was no news is sometimes bad news, because if anyone's just doing like the most mundane, just average, top 25 D1 level reps in practice, then all of the headlines are, greatest ever receiver room, like set to have a breakout season. Like they're always super, super optimistic. And it's more alarming when you don't see, a headline. That's smoke. And then if you're seeing bad headlines, at least I think in my opinion, in spring ball, that's certainly not a good sign. Obviously it's all speculation, but when I see good headlines, I read that as average when it comes to spring ball.
Yeah, it's all in all, it's fun because everyone likes the idea of what could be, and that's just the epitome of spring.
I mean, that's college football as a whole. Is as long as you have hope about something happening the next year or the next week, you're good. And spring is a time where everyone feels like everything's possible. I mean, maybe not in Norman, because we're real. I think OU fans have been pretty good about being realistic that this isn't going to be a national championship season. So that's good, I think. But I don't know.
Bobby. I have a strong feeling we're going to hear a segment from you whenever we start to do our season previews closer in the fall. I don't know. Things could go our way, and you never know. We might have 2 or 3 losses, and you can postseason. Anything can happen.
SEC preview season. I will be pitching that we're going to be making the playoff. By then, by the time we get to
playoff,
but yeah. By the time we get to August, I'm gonna be like, I don't know, boys. I think we could win the SEC. I'm booking my hotel right now. Going to Atlanta.
Oh, God, But I'm excited to continue to watch the spring game. Is going to be a lot of fun. Next week, I guess 2 weeks from now we'll be doing our spring game preview, correct?
Yeah, almost there. Which, by the way, OSU doesn't have a spring game this year, which is second straight year. So I gotta say, it would suck to not have a spring game.
They're just ridiculous. It's like, are you surprised? Like, are you surprised at all? No. Come on.
I don't understand that. It's just a practice where the school can also make money by having people pay to come.
We all know it's not for the players. Come on. Like, they get to do scrimmages all the time. This is all for the fans.
Right. Yeah. And I think OSU is doing like a meet the team day or something. But people want to see football. even some attempt at football. Kansas, who has basically bulldozed their stadium, is they're doing some sort of spring game.
Hey, they're going all in on their program right now, Bobby. They are spending the big bucks.
Yeah, they're going to host some games at Arrowhead Stadium next year, and then Children's Health Park. Home of the what?
Home of the who? The Chiefs?
The Chiefs? Yeah.
I don't know. Possibly you.
Possibly. Hey, who knows what's going on with KC right now? But yeah, the KC had a day that had not been a day like that had not been reached in level of pain since KC Wolf, not KC Wolf, but Chiefsaholic got arrested for robbery.
Legend.
Chiefsaholic, he's innocent. Free my boy Chiefsaholic.
Can we get a pardon for him and Joe Exotic out there? Come on.
The fact that it happened in Tulsa just makes too much sense. Just a quick little bank robbery on the way to the game. Oh Jesus!
What else we got? Do you want me to hit it? I've got just quick little nuggets about Cruton Corner.
I don't have a lot with the spring. I don't know. This has been my least intrigue, like the least amount of intrigue I've had for a spring in a while, and I don't know why. I'm not feeling in the spring spirit. You know, I think maybe I need like a Charlie Brown Christmas type of epiphany to like get my hopes up. Maybe once I see the hot dog eating contest, that'll get me.
I blame it on Puxatawny Phil. He gave us early spring, and now it's not as fun.
Well, I might miss the game for the like NBA playoffs, like if like if the Thunder are playing, so that's part of it too. What's that?
You don't know if the Thunder are going to play. You got a 1 in 3 chance on that day.
What do you mean? It's like they play either on Sunday or they play on Saturday.
Oh, is that the game? Is that the first game?
Yeah, game 1.
Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yep.
That makes sense. I would hope that they would know that the OU spring game is that, and they would know for the fans' sake that they would try to get the Sunday date.
Right, but also, do you think Adam Silver is like, oh no, not the Oklahoma spring game?
No, but I think Clay Bennett's got a good pulse on things, and he'd be able to talk about that.
That's true.
Because you're lying if you don't think NBA schedules are not highly motivated by the owners and what they say in terms of, you know, their availability. Like how many years have we had like the smallest amount of fall winter Thunder games on a Saturday? Like it is very, very real.
Yeah, and the Jazz like never play on Sundays due to obvious reasons. So like, yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But anyways, let's hit the Cruton Corner music. If there are no objections.
Let's do it.
Jamison.
Yes.
What is this? Jamison.
This is a
Cruton Corner with Jamison.
everybody dancing. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, just quick little nuggets right now. The kind of the hot thing to talk about in recruiting. Trenton Wilson, defensive tackle out of the DMV, baby. Out here in Maryland. He is slotted to announce his commitment on April 10th. Y'all are really liking that.
You're already dropping the DMV, baby, and making references to random commercials that none of us will
I've
ever
almost
see.
lived here for a year. Isn't that crazy to say out loud?
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
so that's the weird thing. But I mean, like, this guy plays at a school that's like 45 minutes away from me, too. It's just so.
It's like 3 miles. in the DC area.
So he is announcing his school of choice on April 10th, and all signs right now are pointing to Oklahoma. And you're like, okay, what's the deal here? Why is a guy from Maryland wanting to go to Oklahoma? The truth of the matter is, in today's NIL era, if you want to go out and get somebody and you've got a good package and they can click with you on a human level, like Todd Bates and Chavis and Venables can do with people, geography can get thrown out the window in a lot of cases. And that's probably what's going on here. Like I've read and I've heard that Wilson's his NIL package was pretty enticing to him. And whenever it comes down to his into his commitment, there is not too much confidence from the other teams that are there that are going to compete against him. Like Penn State was a big name that people are talking about. Not a lot of confidence, allegedly, from the Penn State side of things. This would be a really big get for us, and a guy that's a highly rated defensive lineman and a priority target for Bates and Venables. And it's going to be a big day for OU because that same day on April 10th, Michael Hawkins' little brother also is going to be planning to announce, Blake Hawkins. So, we could get a nice little, double trouble here for the recruiting corner and OU's recruiting class, which is looking pretty nice, like you said, Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember what service it was, but and it's super early, so it's not like a braggable thing. But they had OU, OU was second in the SEC behind LSU in recruiting overall for 25, which is nice. It's not, I'm not saying we should go over to Missouri Twitter and bash their heads in with it or anything, but something to be happy about.
Yeah, we're currently 12th in the nation right now as it stands, but we don't really have that big of a blue chip prospect, to tell you the truth, in terms of our rankings. Really, if you look down at our class right now, and obviously good get from Torrey Blaylock, Houston, Texas, running back, but we don't have a big time 5-star or even borderline 4-star kind of guys, at this point. We just got some really solid, deep class right now. And I'm excited to see how it rounds out. Like I said, there's going to be some blue chip 5-star guys that are going to come in this class and that we can get excited for. They will come. We lead for a lot of, a couple of 5-stars right now. So you just got to be patient. They will come through. And this class is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think there's merit to depth, especially in the NIL era where a lot of guys transfer. There's a lot of moving parts. Building a deep class that can, withstand exits and all of that, I think that's pretty good. I think that's something to be proud of and, can really build the bedrock of a program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is going to be a fun day. Get 2 commitments, hopefully, in 1, unless something happens. But nice little gift for people 10 days before the spring game.
10 days? No way.
April 10th is whenever they're announcing.
Oh, I thought you said right now. I was like,
no.
20
doesn't even make sense.
Bobby's going to be mad.
No, I actually had one thing that Jameson mentioned in the recruiting corner really jumped out to me, and I wanted to just retouch on this because I feel like it may have slipped by some of the listeners, and this is a very, very important thing to note. Jameson talked about our ranking for recruiting within the SEC, and then took great care to mention that Louisiana State was ahead of us, which is just suspicious, right?
That was Bobby.
Suspicious.
That was Bobby.
That Jameson. I think if you run the tape back, you will find that Jameson is the one who said it. So.
Clearly.
I'm not a sleeper agent.
Oh, okay. He's getting mad. There you go. I think we might be poking the right.
You have no pictures of me wearing Louisiana State gear or their colors. Nowhere.
We have you in a Crystal shirt, so that's about as Louisiana as it gets.
All right, I'm guilty. Lock me up.
Jameson, I have been fighting off the OSU sleeper agent allegations for years. It's your turn now, buddy. It's a dawn of a new
Those
era.
are both of these are real things. A lot of people don't realize that I'm the only one true OU fan on this podcast.
Ty got out ahead of it by essentially
Creating the allegations.
Well, not only one creating the allegations, but two supporting every single team on the Western Seaboard. You know,
That is true. I diluted it. I diluted
Yeah.
it by declaring myself a lifelong fan of going on like 30 teams now.
Both Arizona schools
On the Atlantic Seaboard as well,
Oregon.
because I've been a longtime fan of SMU in Dallas,
Mhm.
which is an Atlantic school.
Coastal elite Ty. You know,
Yes.
it's both of them. He likes both of them.
We'll do a whole podcast breaking down everyone's different allegiances. That's a good.
That'll be a
off-season.
killer one. People will be
That's-
running to listen to that one.
That's what we'll do this summer. The Schooner Pod lore series.
Do it. Maybe a kangaroo court.
We'll just
A
Everyone-
preseason primer to get you read in on all the inside jokes that are going to come up 3 times an episode.
oh my god. Well, yeah, like 3-hour episodes. and just
We'll
lore.
kangaroo court different allegations against everyone else. You can defend why you guys are both sleeper agents for different schools and why I'm a
Explain what-
lifelong fan of. See, the messed up thing is I've been a lifelong fan of Oregon for a long time, since like middle school, when everyone started caring about Oregon because they had the cool uniforms and stuff. And now I must suffer the indignity of Dylan Gabriel going there and me having to love my beloved Duckies and also hate on their quarterback. It's ridiculous. I
could've
can't
gone
even think
anywhere.
of something comparable. It's like my beloved team, my beloved Duckies, and Dylan Gabriel found the one way to get back at me by becoming their quarterback as well.
So
Which
funny.
is funny to
You're a
mention because
lifelong fan.
we mentioned spring practices. I found 2 different articles that reference a quarterback battle at Oregon, which is hilarious.
Who's he going against?
Well, they got that guy from UCLA as well.
Oh,
That's right,
Get out
yeah.
of here, Dante Moore. Do
He's
not even
taller
hit me.
and faster.
Don't even hit me with the Dante Moore is going to win that
I didn't
job.
write the article.
Dude
I didn't
was
write the article.
absolute
Right?
buns.
I didn't write the article.
Absolute buns at UCLA last year.
Dylan
Oh
Gabriel
my
is
God.
not buns at OU.
This is, you can say whatever you want about Dylan
Give me
Gabriel.
another
Dante
hour.
Moore was
I'm pulling
pitiful.
the stats up. I'm
What was
pulling
his
the stats
interception
up.
to
He's not
touchdown ratio?
I think you're just mentally thinking he's DTR, just because
He is.
like he's not DTR.
Dante Moore was 11 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. QBR 32.
That has to be better than Dylan Gabriel.
No,
Dylan Gabriel had one of the better
Like-
touchdown to interception ratios, I'm pretty sure.
Dylan Gabriel statistically was one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and like that's like the
Yeah,
stats are
Gabriel-
really shy.
Dylan Gabriel had a
Terrible.
5-to-1 ratio of 30 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, 87.
If he's one of the best
QBR.
quarterbacks in the country, why isn't he one of the like 17 that are in the NFL draft right now?
Well, I mean, look, Ty, how many times have we heard touchdown Dylan Gabriel over and over again?
Want to hear a joke? They label him 5'11 on ESPN, Dylan Gabriel.
That's generous. Does that make me 5'10"? We're going by those rules.
What's on your driver's license, Bobby? What are you at?
I can't remember.
Yeah, you can. Come on.
I don't remember. I think I'm 5'8" on the driver's
Nice.
license.
Nice.
That's modest. That's modest. We're not going to talk about the weight portion, which has not changed since 2010. But
Since 2010.
Excuse
me, sir.
Wait, yeah, 2010 is not right. That's not the right. Whatever it was.
You got a license in 8th grade.
No.
Well,
This
I
is
mean, you
good.
could have
This
gotten
is
your
good.
permit in 2010, right?
No, I got my permits.
Yeah, that's right. You got it late.
Yeah,
I forgot about
How do you not remember? You had to drive me around
Sorry,
like for the entire year.
I forgot about
That was
this.
bad. Yeah, this is getting way too inside
right,
baseball.
cut it.
These people are like, "What the hell is what's going on?" This is why we need a lore episode so everyone can ignore it.
So we can break down Bobby's stats.
Yeah. My stats.
We need to release a depth chart
Sports-
for the pod.
Sports science. That remember sports science was the best. It was great. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna have Kevin Love try to box out a sumo wrestler, like just cause. Okay, let's wrap up the show. I think that's all we really got. Anything y'all have to say before we head on out?
No.
Yeah, I would just like to reiterate once again: good enough for Elvis, apparently not good enough for our mediocre basketball team.
Good enough for Elvis, like 50 years ago.
That's when he was alive. Elvis
Wait.
implies that it's 50 years ago. If I
It
said,
was in 1977.
the Mediterranean was good enough.
The
For,
arena hasn't looked the exact same the entire time. I mean, it has, but it's like devolved. Like it's, you know,
I don't think it's it's gotten worse because Elvis is no longer
it's
there.
deteriorated. Yeah. I mean, it. Okay.
Man,
Anyways,
Elvis looks
that's-
rough in these pictures.
What are you looking at?
I'm
Elvis?
looking at sweaty.
It was
old
actually Elvis. His when
we
he
didn't even get the
performed
good
was his
one.
final. I think it was his final tour.
Oh, we got like bad. We got bad Elvis then.
No,
That's
it
not
was
even a
like
good argument.
fifth. Obviously, this is like super. I think it was like his fifth to last, fourth or fifth.
We
to
got
last.
Carmelo Anthony on the Portland Trailblazers
on the Thunder.
Yeah, it was not great. Not great. All right, folks, we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you all so much for listening. Do appreciate it. We'll just keep on chugging through spring. And spring game preview coming up in 2 weeks. We'll find something to talk about next week. So till then, have a good one. Boomer Sooner, everybody.